Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be doing a overview slash review of Spider-Gwen, the Omnibus. Now, this is the Todd McFarlane variant cover. I really like what they did here. It looks like Spider-Man #1. It's kind of like a swipe cover. But this one has this right here. I really like the way they did this. On the original one, it's the 30th anniversary of Spider-Man logo here, and here it is. It says ND after McFarlane. Here's the spine. Here's the back cover. Now it says cover price 125 US dollars, 157 Canadian. This covers issues 1 through 34 of the main series and a bunch of tie-ins with Spider-Man, with Silk, with Spider-Woman and other characters, right? I'll get to that as I flip through the pages. So I like the color design and the whole cover. It looks pretty cool. Look at this. Whole dust. Here would be the whole dust jacket, front cover, spine, back cover. I really like this. Look at the colors they do here. The contrast. It's almost like those negatives you get on when you develop pictures. Here's some more artwork. That's to be expected in certain scenes and in covers and so forth. There's a lot of different artists, different art styles here, so gotta remember that. Main artist on the 34 issues of Spider-Gwen being Robbie Rodriguez, as you can see right here, writer Latour. But you do get some issues with a different artist, and then of course all the tie-in issues from Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Silk, and so forth. All those have their own artist, right? That is not Robbie Rodriguez. Here are the inner flaps. Have not read them, but here you get a picture of Spider-Gwen and another one. Here it tells you about the creators and so forth. Jason Latour, Rodriguez, and Rico Renzi. And here it says Face It Tiger, so on and so on, right? Now, Rico Renzi, I believe is the colorist, who he deserves a lot of credit in this because he makes the art really pop. And I would even say the color might stand out more than the pencils, right? You can, that's debatable. But both are great. Both are great. This team works really good together. All right, now here you see what I'm talking about. You just get like a bit in piece, right? Now the inner flaps, I'm really digging this. They went with this vibrant teal type color. Really digging it, and it goes with the type of art style and with the dust jacket itself. They have a lot of these types of colors in it. Now here's the first page. You see Spider-Gwen there, and it says Spider-Gwen right here. This looks real cool. And here it's the table of contents 1 through 34, written by Jason Latour, artwork Robbie Rodriguez. Then it says here everything else, right? Then here Spider-Gwen annual, so different artists but same writer. All new Wolverine annual. Spider-Gwen Alpha. Dennis Hopeless wrote that one, along with Jason Latour. Silk issue 7 through 8. Spider-Woman issue 6 and 7. Spider-Man issues 12 through 14. Spider-Woman Omega. So a lot of different tie-ins and so forth. Here you get the beginning of the book. I really like what they do here. It's real dynamic as far as the art and so forth. Okay, now here you get the beginning of the book. Peter Parker turns into the lizard and dies because he takes this serum, right? Like the lizard serum. And Spider-Gwen, she gets bitten by this radioactive spider, and she gets Spider-Man's power. So basically, she's in this is an alternative universe, and she's in a Spider-Man situation, right? Like, what if the spider would have bit her instead of Peter Parker? Really neat idea. This issue was the Age of Spider-Verse. It became a big hit. It was huge. I remember I bought the singles, and everybody was excited over it. They were like, "Oh, this is what a cool idea, right?" So they decided, let's make it an ongoing series. Story, she's part of a rock band, right? Because these comics were coming out called Gem and the Holograms. They had this similar art style, like maybe not the pencils, but the colors and so forth were like this. And they were in a rock band, right? So then everybody wanted their take on that. Marvel had Spider-Gwen. They had Hellcat. Then DC had Black Canary, who was also in a rock band. They had a lot of books where the main protagonist is a woman. And those books tended to have this type of art style and colors. Again, maybe not the pencils, but the colors. So it fools you into thinking that the pencils are similar. Even though I've gone back and looked at some of those, and they're a lot different as far as the art styles, but the colors are always they're very similar. So it makes you think that they're the same, right? Until you see them in black and white without colors. But yeah, so everybody wanted their take on that type of thing because the Gem and the Holograms thing. Let's get a little bit into some of the extras, then we'll flip to some of the pages. The extras on this book are not bad. Now here you get this. It says Spider-Gwen 2015, issue 34, Afterworld, the Gwen Souls. So this is, I guess, a little speech by Robbie Rodriguez. Have not read this yet. I have not finished the book. I'm on issue like 26 right now. Now here again, you get the little bit of explanation about the process here, and then here's some of the artwork, the pencils and inks. Again, now here we start getting, it starts being more like you know when they're gonna do a movie and they give each person their script, like these lines are what you say and this line's what you say. Here we have that. Look here, what Glory says. We just need so and so. Then what Mary Jane says, and then what Glory says again back, and then the next page the same. What each character is saying. So this is kind of what they would hand like the artist, and then he would draw the panels right to this. Then the writer will come back and write that on the speech bubbles where they belong, right? Or somebody else will do that, the letterer. Here's some of this stuff. Then we get to, once we get to this stuff, look, it's quite a bit of amount of it, quite a good amount of it. Then we get to this, characters. Captain America in this alternative universe, this Captain America gives you her biography and so forth and her rundown. Daredevil, same thing. So this is cool. You can even read this before you read the book just to get an idea of what each character is. Although I suggest read the story first, then read this stuff after. But it's cool, almost like trading cards, right? How in the trading cards back in the days, in the back, it will tell you who the character is and his get down and first appearance and what's his thing is, right? So same thing right here. So yeah, I thought the extras were solid. Then after these, we get over here the variant covers. A lot of variant covers to this to these Gwen books. This one's pretty cool. I'm digging that one. A lot of solid ones. Like this one as well. The art is the go-to here. The art and the colors. Okay, so here's the variant cover. The name is Nick Bradshaw. He's the one who did this McFarlane interpretation. Oh, look, Bruce Trim did one. I was not aware of this one. Bruce Trim. It's pretty cool. Again, some more. Okay, I think we've seen enough extras. Now let's get to a little bit of the book. Now, before I forget, here's the binding. No gutter loss. Look at that. The gutter loss is very minimal. Look at it. It's very flat right here. So yeah, the binding is good, and you want this hole right here, and you want this to be as flat as possible. And in order for that to happen, this would have to make a white hole, right? And yeah, look, it's pretty flat. I'll try to find a 2-page spread. As we flip through the pages, we'll eventually find one, right? Alright, let me tell you the pros and cons as far as my opinion in this book. We're in this world called a 6-5 universe, and then there's the 616 universe. 616 being the regular Marvel universe. So this is an alternative universe. It's called Spider-Verse, right? So there's a lot of alternative universes and so forth. In this universe, Spider-Gwen became Spider-Man, if you will. She took Peter Parker's spot. So in this world, Miles Morales exists here as Spider-Man, and in the 616 universe, it's Peter Parker. So I like where they were going with that. You know, in this universe, let her be Spider-Woman and let Miles Morales be Spider-Man. So we don't, in that universe, we don't need Spider-Man, we don't need Spider-Woman. We got them to take their spot, right? Like, that's what makes it a different universe. And I thought that was pretty cool. And this girl is, I forget her name, but she's Captain America. So I was digging all that. Now, what happens is they start going back and forth to the real universe as Marvel's way to try to slowly throw Miles Morales into the 616 universe and try to throw Spider-Gwen into the 616 universe. I thought they were better served in their own universe. That way they become kind of the main characters and so forth. Because once they're in that universe, you're going to have Spider-Man. He's going to outshine Miles Morales because you can't have two of the same thing, right? Well, you can, but it's going to take some of his shine, if you will, right? And the same with Spider-Gwen. You're going to have Silk. You're going to have Spider-Woman. And in her own universe, it's like she was the big dog, right? The main character there. So I thought that gave her more room for character development and more camera time, right? So that was one thing I thought it actually kind of hurt the characters, but I get they wanted them in the real universe so they could cross over with other Marvel characters and so forth. Alright, so here in this universe, Green Goblin is still Ozzy Osbourne, same character. You see him here, this smoke here, all this shenanigans going on. This other character that serum to turn into a lizard like Peter Parker. And you see Ozzy Osbourne choking Gwen Stacy. He's obviously more stronger than a regular human now. So he took something as well. He's turning into the Green Goblin. And over here you see him looking at Gwen Stacy's face. You see her eyes here. I like the way what they did with the art here. See him reaching towards her and bam, the mask is off. So it leaves you in suspense like, oh, what's going on, right? And then here you see his shock. Like, he's shocked to what he sees. Here's her lifeless hand, pretty much. She's passed out, and he sees it's Gwen Stacy, right? He's like, oh crap, it's my friend. So they're rival enemies as their alternative evils, and as their regular selves, they're really good friends. And then bam, you see him changing. The issue ends there. I wish this panel was bigger, but you see him going through a transformation, so he's not done mutating, right? He turns into this almost like half lizard, half goblin, half human thing. And that will show you later on in the book. It looks real cool. Here's the cover to the next issue, issue 5. Here you see on the next issue, he's turning, you see how he's turning into like a lizard type creature because he took the lizard serum. So he's kind of like half lizard, half human, but then he's playing the role of Hobgoblin. So his look is different, but he's still kind of the Hobgoblin at the end of the day, right? So yeah, look, now he's running away because, you know, like, because he's all in shock. She's Spider-Gwen, and now he's this mutant. Everything's been turned upside down in his life in one moment, right? So let me show you something else here. Here's some of the other art you'll get. Completely different art style. I also enjoy this one. They stay consistent with the type of colors they use, but the art styles do differ because you have some manuals and you have some crossovers and so forth, right? Then you have this art style, which again, it still has all these crazy colors, but clearly different. The way they delivered panels and so forth is a lot different than the other penciler. So yeah, I was a fan of all the art styles. I do like Robbie Rodriguez's art. It's a very hip hop, pop culture type of art, and they reference it in this book. I've seen a few books going with that art style, and I always say this is like a graffiti art was kind of big in the 80s and 90s, and I always say this is like a graffiti art type of art or a pop type of art. And then what's funny is that every time you get an artist like that, he always has a scene where kids are writing on walls and doing graffiti, and he's mentioning other famous graffiti artists. This artist does it. There's a new ongoing series right now called Bad Girls. It has similar art, and it also has guys writing, the girls tagging and stuff. And again, it references the graffiti game and the hip hop world and so forth. So I thought that was interesting. I feel like these artists grew up as kids or teens in the 90s or 80s, so they were influenced by that art style, right? And they saw it everywhere, and they try to imitate it. So now that they become professional comic artists, it shows in their art that that's the type of art they followed after. Here again, we get introduced to another artist because this is a all new Wolverine issue. It's a crossover. Now, I was liking the main story, but it constantly did this. This is a crossover with 3 Wolverine issues, 3 Silk issues. No, this was 3 Wolverine issues, 3 Spider-Woman issues. And so that's 6 issues of story arc, right? That I was reading, and we were not in the main story. This is a whole separate story. Then we get back to the main story. After we get back to the main story, then we get another 8 issues of another crossover, another storyline, where it's 2 issues Silk, 2 issues Spider-Woman, 2 issues Spider-Gwen. Right? So it disrupted the flow for me because we have the main ongoing story. Then we go into stories where they cross into the real world and she's meeting up with Wolverine. Then we go back to the main ongoing story. Then you get back to the real world where she's with Spider-Woman and Silk. And whenever you get to those stories, they last quite a while. And by the time you get back to the regular story, I kind of forgot where we had left off until I read it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, we were left off here. So it kept throwing me off. I didn't like that. I wish they didn't start throwing all these crossovers in and so forth. But I get it. They had to... she was gaining in popularity, Spider-Gwen, so they wanted to try to throw her in the regular universe and have her have crossovers with other characters, right? Once a character starts getting popular, sales are doing good, there's going to be more and more crossovers, which is one thing I hate about Marvel and DC, that the bigger the character, the more crossovers and the more convoluted it becomes. Okay, now here, this is one of the Spider-Woman issues, and the art is quite different. This art doesn't have all the crazy bright colors and extravagant, flamboyant pencils and so forth. It's more just your typical comic book type of art, but I really like this art. It's more grounded, and her storyline is more grounded. When you get to the Spider-Woman stuff, at this point, Spider-Woman is pregnant. She just had a kid, and it's more of a story. Of course, there's going to be the superhero element, but the story within the story is that she's a mother raising a kid, and is trying to figure out the whole parenting thing, right? And she's not really getting along with the baby daddy, which would be this character. They kind of have issues and so forth, and she doesn't want to leave her kid at her side. She doesn't really trust him with the child like I guess he's not responsible enough or whatever. So I was completely lost in the sauce right here because I was like, I didn't know Spider-Woman's pregnant. I didn't know what her storyline is. But it felt so out of place when we have this superhero storyline in another universe. And then we get to these issues where it's just like a very grounded, realistic story. The tone is completely different and it's completely off from what I was reading, right? Here, as she's talking to Silk and to Spider-Gwen, they're younger. They're like in their early 20s, late teens. And Spider-Woman's, you know, she's a mom already. She's in her like 30 or something. So she's kind of trying to play the leader or the parent figure to these other younger superheroes, letting them know how the superhero game goes. And it's not a life they want, right? They're gonna be constantly fighting with people. Your life's always gonna be in danger. It's like, do you really want this lifestyle? Why don't you just settle down, live a normal life? You don't need to use your superpowers. You're not obligated, right? So I thought her character was likable and so forth. But again, like I said, it just didn't seem to fit with the tone of everything else that was going on. And I don't read Spider-Woman. I don't read Silk. So I was all lost when, because you're getting like stories that start in the middle of something, right? Like in the middle of the story. So I was like, hey, what is going on? You're just getting into the fight scenes, but we're not explaining who these other characters are. So again, you would have to read all those other books and be invested in the Marvel Universe to appreciate those two storylines, the one with Silk and Spider-Woman, and then the one with the X-23 Wolverine, right? So yeah, again, I do like how the colors are on this as well. Like I said, I did like this art, and the story itself, it wasn't bad. It was done well. I just felt like it didn't, Spider-Gwen didn't belong in here, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Now we're back to the Spider-Gwen with the crazy flamboyant art of Robbie Rodriguez and the great colors as well. In this universe, Punisher is this cop, but he's kind of an asshole cop. One of those real like aggressive cops and doesn't always do things by the book. So I like his take here, what they did with Punisher. He's kind of a vigilante, but in a different way. One thing I think I suffer from is when you're in an alternative universe, one thing you want to do as a writer, you got this whole new playground to play with where you're free to do whatever you want. Because you're not restricted by all these rules of being in the 616 universe. So I would like writers to take chances and be real different, right? So they made Punisher slightly different. That was kind of cool. Obviously, Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, whichever one you want to look at it, was way different because it was Spider-Gwen. Now her life is now a superhero, not just this regular civilian, right? They guess needs saving all the time by Spider-Man. So they did really good with those characters. I even was feeling what they were doing with Green Goblin, because he's more like a lizard now. So that was all cool. It was all gravy. And then you get to some of these other characters, and even Captain America, it's now a woman, right? So I was digging all that. Then you get to some of these other characters like Kingpin, Matt Murdock, Wolverine, and they're just exactly the same character pretty much. Daredevil's a scumbag lawyer defending Kingpin, which, I mean, doesn't he always do that in the regular universe anyways? And Kingpin is the Kingpin, right? So he's the same character. Wolverine is Wolverine. I was like, oh man, I wish they would have done something different with these characters. Maybe make Matt Murdock the Kingpin, right? That would have been pretty cool. Or make Kingpin a lawyer. You know, switch it up some, have a little more fun with it. I felt they didn't take enough risk with other characters. It felt too similar to the regular universe. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on this book. I don't want this video to run any longer, and I don't want to get too into spoilers. If you read this, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That way, you know, it helps the algorithm, helps the channel, and you'll be helping me out, you know. That'll be greatly appreciated. And other than that, I just hope you guys have a good day. And I'd like to thank you guys for taking some time out of that day to watch my video. Other than that, check you guys out next time.